and a candidate for the Charles County Board of Education. I want to thank you for having us here tonight to present our views on special education. And one of the things that I thought about, I don't know how large the group would be, that you are advocates for over 2,500 of our students who have IEPs and 504s. I do not see 2,500 parents here, but you are certainly advocating for all of our students who do have IEPs and 504s. This I truly appreciate. I took a look at the email that was sent, and it appeared that the concerns were based on issues centered around assessment, the PARCS assessment, Common Core, and the effect that these assessments have on students who have special needs or whose cognitive abilities might be challenged. What I would like to do for the next few minutes is to address my connection with special ed teachers and special ed students. Since my coming to the county 24 years ago, I want to make it clear before I talk about my 24 years here in Charles County Public Schools. I am a native Charles Countyan, and many people look at me and say, oh, you actually know about the Charles County Public Schools? Yes, I do. I'm a graduate of the Charles County Public Schools. It just so happened that I returned here 24 years ago on vacation with my young son, promising him a summer on the Potomac. I did not return to my career because I was asked by many of the community people here to remain because they had a high school assessment. It was the first year that the students had to pass in order to receive their diploma. It was a functional test, really. So my first job here in Charles County was to remediate for the functional government test. And this remediation included all students, regardless of their cognition ability. At the same time, I was the assistant test coordinator at the school. And as the assistant test coordinator, I came in contact with the IEPs and the 504s for each student who had one. They were examined, analyzed, we were sure that instruction was in compliance. And when it came time for the assessment, not only were the assessment limits written up for the teachers who were testing, but we also met with them to be sure that these modifications were met. That was my first year in the county. I then went into the classroom for 5 years. I was in one of the high schools. And as a classroom teacher for 5 years, I worked with the county and the state in making a transition from the functional test to the high school assessment. At the same time, we began to pilot the inclusion class. And I heard one of the candidates mention the 2 teachers in the classroom for the inclusion class, the regular teacher and then the special ed teacher. Well, when we started the inclusion class, I was in the class by myself. But I will say this, the special education coordinator did come and say, could I help you with this or could I help you with that? Here are some materials that you could use. Okay. This inclusion class was successful. It's still a part of our system. And as I was thinking about this inclusion class, the students that I had in special education in the regular ed class, I thought about one young man. And if I have a sketch on it, I could describe him to the T. And one of the things, I can still see him sitting in the classroom doing his work. We had the high school assessment. Would you believe? Like many of my honor students, we had a perfect score, 428. His dad calls me. His father was elated. My son got a 428 perfect score on the government test. But I was doubly elated when the father said to me, My son and I watch the news every night together, and he applies what he learned in the classroom, what you learn in your class to the news. That is home and school working together, collaboration, success. Okay? From the high school assessment, moving on pretty quickly, I came to central office. I was in the Office of Curriculum and Instruction. I retired from the Office of Curriculum and Instruction. I was invited to come back to pilot another session, the intervention program. I think we still have an intervention program now. We do not want our students to fail the test the first time. We want to intervene. The intervention program also included all students, both special ed students and regular ed students. The program was successful. We worked together as a team. Most recently, as of last year, I was a teacher mentor at one of the high schools. I mentored special ed teachers. We modeled co-teaching in the classroom. And it was mentioned before, the life skills teachers. Last year, I had the privilege to mentor a life skills teacher. I learned a lot. This past spring, some of the teachers asked me to go in and observe students taking the parts exam, which I did. One of the things that was interesting, that we used a computer, great 21st century, okay, no paper and pencil. But the whole year, the school had prepared them for the exam by starting with writing skills. Our kids text. When you text, you abbreviate words, you do not have complete sentences. The part exam said you're going to spell out that word and you're going to have complete sentences. The school worked all year to prepare our kids for this. Okay? And there were special ed kids as well as regular ed kids taking the test. The other thing that I observed, besides, it was that you and I'm sure we know the keyboard. I learned the keyboard. Our kids had to be retaught the keyboard. We do not have keyboard in the curriculum. That is something that we also need to address. One of the things that I have come up with is assessment guides instruction. And instruction prepares students for assessment. The other point is change, like the rising and the setting of the sun, is going to come. What we do is we manage the change. We can also become a part of the change. One of the things I noted in your email was the pilot for the Center for National and State Collaboration for students with cognitive disabilities. Be a part of that group. Be proactive. Be a voice. Become vocal. And some of the things I've heard tonight that Dr. Sotomayor was saying, you already appeared to be proactive and requesting certain modifications for the special ed kids. My last point is this. I have this little card. My tag, quality education for every child, did not come to me on a dream. This is a lifetime, an adult lifetime of working with children from all abilities. So on November 4th, remember, quality education for each child.